ushers are here to assist us, and they're wearing the red ACity t-shirts. Can I please get a wave from our ushers? Our washrooms are down the hall towards the right and left-hand side. I would like to also give a thank you to our sponsors. Joining us today here, the CEO of Wheaties Ghana, Madam Esther Dwamena. You. Souvenirs and more, Waffle Mania. iTech Visuals, Bridgeway Print Shop, Robafi Book and Stationery, Satguru Travels, City TV, and Joy News. As we gather here today, we reflect on the incredible years that Academic City has come from humble beginnings to what we are now. A couple of people, no, even a few would say, you know what, perhaps Academic City is still just a toddler. In human years, 5 years were basically toddlers. Nevertheless, Academic City continues to make remarkable change by standing tall amongst the big boys in the industry, by being ranked second in Ghana and 15th in the sub-Saharan African region. Let's give a round of applause for that. Tonight we elevate our celebration with the presence of our esteemed guest speaker, Dr. Ishmael Yamson. However, before we move to our guest lecture, I would like to call on stage the man that is the driving force of Academic City, the man that sees no limitations when it comes to making change in the tertiary education industry, and the man that continues to rebrand Academic City internationally and locally. Our founding father, President, Professor Fred McBagan-Laurie. Let's give him a round of applause.
Sometimes when I hear all these amazing descriptions, I have to pinch myself, you know. I just got lucky. Fate was kind to me. Otherwise, I would not be here today. Good evening. Everybody looks too quiet for my liking. Today, we're going to have a speaker, a man that I've always known from a distance. And if you ask me 30 years ago that I'll be hosting him here at Academic City, I would have said, you must be kidding me. But as fate would have it, and the universe listens, by the way, his son was my mate at St. Augustine's College. So I think everything Ms. Chitende has said, he would have expected that if you send a son to St. Augustine's, something good will come out of it. Is the minister here yet? No? Okay. And we have a very good friend of Academic City, Dr. Elsie Kaufman, which is a household name. You haven't seen much of her here, but she comes here when we need her, working hard in the shadows, showing us what it means to be a leader. That in this environment called higher education in Ghana, the new word for competition is collaboration. So we appreciate you. Now let me get to my speech before I digress into other things. So good evening and welcome to Academic City. It's with great joy and pride that we gather here today to climax a significant milestone in Academic City's journey. 5 years ago, we embarked on a mission to shape young minds and empower them to challenge an ever-evolving world. As an institution, we are excited about the progress we've made and inspired by the potential that lies ahead. Our 5th anniversary celebration is evidence of the commitment and determination of our entire academic community, from our faculty to our students to our alumni and employees. We are committed to continuing our mission of educating future-ready leaders who can innovatively solve complex problems within an ethical, entrepreneurial, and collaborative environment. As a founding president, of course, no greater joy comes than to see this baby that many times I have to wake up in the night and said, ACity was so safe. Well, what are you doing here? You know, I didn't have to go look for new students. I didn't have to convince any parents. We actually had so many students that we picked and chose those that we wanted to come. But, you know, sometimes fate places responsibilities on you, and you have to stand and fight. And so we did. So let me take this opportunity to share with you some of the remarkable things that we've achieved in the last 5 years. Ms. Chitende mentioned our ranking that we are so proud of. 15th in the sub-region, and I had the opportunity last week of going to Makerere that I believe was number 6. And I made a short video and I said, I came here to see what you are doing so that next time we can beat you to the game. We've had some good global successes. Our Academic City's innovative approach to education is evident in our first graduates making waves. We have a startup in our workshop here that we are incubating. And I saw electric bikes also on the campus of Makerere that was built by students. And I said, my students can do this. And they have done this in 5 years, and you did it in 100 years. We are coming after you. We are coming after you. In terms of international opportunities, you know, our graduates are in Virginia Tech. We actually got one of our graduates into a straight PhD program at Virginia Tech. We are at Oregon State. We are at Worcester Polytechnic. We are at Carnegie Mellon, Rwanda. And not to leave the British out, we have one at Leeds Beckett. Lucy, are you going to say something? You know, Academic City has taken the lead in transforming tertiary education in Ghana and beyond by embracing a STEM-focused curriculum, cultivating an entrepreneurial spirit among its students. The institution is engaging and equipping the next generation with tools they need to address the complex challenges and to drive innovation across various sectors. The topic for this public lecture could not be more appropriate: empowering the youth for the future. The role of education in preparing our youth to navigate the complexities of the future cannot be exaggerated in a world characterized by rapid change and unprecedented challenges. In these difficult and challenging economic times and uncertainties in our sub-region, the need for a redirection cannot be overemphasized. Today, on this auspicious occasion, we are privileged to have with us a distinguished speaker whose insights and experiences have guided numerous public and private organizations, as well as individuals, towards a more promising and sustainable future. Dr. Ishmael Jansen, a guiding light in his own right, joins us to provide insights on tonight's events. This topic resonates strongly with our mission and vision and highlights the importance of preparing the next generation to lead with purpose, resiliency, and creativity. I am especially hopeful that this lecture will provide not only information, but also inspiration. I would like to express my deepest appreciation to everyone who has contributed to Academic City's success over the past 5 years, including our devoted faculty, diligent staff, supporting and oftentimes understanding parents, and most importantly, our brilliant students, both current and former, that continues to hold the Academic City flag high. To all our invited guests, I say thank you for accepting and gracing this event with your presence and supporting Academic City's vision. Thank you. Thank you.
And now it's with great honor that I invite to the stage a true beacon, an inspiration to the realm of STEM education, and a distinguished leader in the field of engineering, the mother of Academic City, Dr. Lucy Ajapong. Let's give her a round of applause.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. So it is with great honor that I come here to welcome our speaker for today. This particular speaker has a very, very special place in my heart because most people don't know, but he's more than a father to me. He actually walked me down the aisle. So I just want to give a little bit of a background about who our speaker is today as he goes ahead and tells us a little bit about empowering the youth for the future. I always say he's ahead of his years, even though he has a lot of years ahead of him, but he's still ahead of his years. So Dr. Ishmael Evans Yamson has over 5 decades of experience at the apex of corporate management and public sector advisory roles, both in Ghana and internationally. He is a proven leader in strategic management and a much sought after advisor to government, the public sector, and private sector organizations. He steered Unilever Ghana from a depressed conglomerate into a focused and prosperous company. He chairs a number of boards, including MTN Ghana, Standard Chartered Bank Ghana, and Wilma Ghana. He is truly a role model for management in Africa. Dr. Yamson served on the various economic and business advisory council for all Ghana's presidents right from 1992 to 2016. And he brings a wealth of experience as chairman of Ishmael Yamson and Associates. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome to the stage Dr. Ishmael Yamson.
Good evening, everybody. Just let me make one comment that UC made. Said I was a council member for virtually all the presidents. One thing I would say is that I don't own any of the mistakes they made. And I say that because the presidents have every choice to make, either to accept the advice you give them and act on them, or just listen and say, well, when you go, that's fine. It's forgotten after you leave the office. But I'm very, very happy to be here. In fact, Lucy and I have had numerous conversations about Academic City. And I must say, I'm very proud of this university. I've watched it over the last 5 years, and I've been amazed by the progress that it has made over only a very short period of time. My own alma mater, University of Ghana, has been around for 75 years, right? And I speak about it with pride. But sometimes I'm not so generous in my comments. But they still accept me. I've been asked to share my views on empowering the youth for the future. Now, this is not a new subject. Governments, families, companies have attempted to confront this issue for many years, but they have made very little progress. But of late, the subject has received greater attention for a number of reasons, but more especially to me, the disruptions taking place by technology, artificial intelligence, generative artificial intelligence. And I have run a series of programs, and just last month I had UC on one of them. So together, these have created many major challenges for the youth, including massive losses of jobs, growing youth unemployment, in absence of government's ability to provide opportunities for the youth acquiring new knowledge and new skills for the new technology-driven world of work, as well as a lack of opportunities for personal professional growth. In some cases, these have led to mental health issues, depression, and rising rates of suicide among young people. Consequently, in recent years, there has been growing frustration among the youth, threatening the stability of communities and countries. And it's for these reasons that youth empowerment has become crucially important to governments and societies. Say when I watch television, I see a lot of young people risking their lives to go to Europe because they've lost hope. My heart breaks. But let me make it clear, youth empowerment is not the same as youth development. They are very different. Youth development centers on the individual, whereas youth empowerment focuses on creating a larger community orientation in the development of the individual's capacity to become an active and productive member of the society. The focus of this paper is therefore about how we should prepare our youth to use their skills and talents and capabilities to participate in the development of their own lives and the lives in their communities. So at this stage, let me briefly summarize the obstacles undermining our ability to empower our youth for the future. Because the journey must begin by acknowledging the challenges that the youth face globally, but more especially in Africa and Ghana. These challenges include educational disparities, limited access to relevant and quality education, unemployment, mental health struggles, and lack of personal growth opportunities. These challenges can be daunting, but they also provide us with a starting point for understanding why youth empowerment is essential. And they will also help us to design appropriate and effective policy responses in an attempt to resolve these challenges, to provide the youth opportunities for a more hopeful and better future. When we invest in youth empowerment, we invest in the future of communities and nations and in the world itself. An empowered youth become the skilled workforce of tomorrow, the innovators who will drive progress, the engaged citizens who will shape policies, and the advocates for sustainable development. For this lecture, as part of our response to the disempowerment of the youth, I was asked to focus on 3 key areas: nurturing innovation and creativity among the youth, cultivating leadership skills for tomorrow's challenges, and building resilience and adaptability in an uncertain world. But before I do that, permit me to situate the discussion. I know that the issue of youth empowerment is a global one, and even more so in Africa and Ghana. And I cannot pretend to have the competence to take on the challenges facing the youth globally, not even the whole of Africa. So I'll limit my discussion to Ghana. In discussing the youth in Ghana, it is important that we understand who we are referring to as the youth and what characteristics they have. The UN classification of the youth is for persons between the ages of 15 and 25. But the African Charter, adopted by Ghana in its national youth policy, classifies the youth as persons between the ages of 15 and 35. But for my discussion, though, I shall describe the youth as the disillusioned generation. Persons between the ages of 15, i.e. post-junior high school, and 45. And my reason is that there has been a dramatic growth in graduate unemployment in this country, with the numbers growing every year in recent years. And it's also a fact that the rate of dropouts post-senior high school is even more frightening than graduate unemployment. It is equally important not only to focus on age brackets, but also to understand the generation changes that have taken place. Since 1965, the world has seen 4 different generations, each with completely different perspectives, attitudes, and behaviors to life. The first generation, called Generation X, comprised of all those born between 1965 and 1980. This generation is generally independent, self-reliant, family-oriented, and tolerant. But they are skeptical about institutions, and they are not technologically savvy. The next generation is the Generation Millennial, made up of those born between 1981 and 1996. People of this generation are digital natives, entrepreneurial, have a desire for inclusivity, and are often concerned about their financial security. The next generation is what we call Generation Z. Those born between 1996 and 2010, I think there are many here. They are digital natives, socially conscious, and they seek authenticity. They are mobile and acutely dissatisfied with orthodoxy. Finally is the Generation AI. This is the current generation. They are mobile, they are mobile, technologically savvy, they are dissatisfied with orthodoxy. They are often ahead of decision makers. They are eager to experiment. They are forward-looking, they are creative, they are innovative, and they are adventurous, and are impatient, very impatient with orthodoxy. They are self-conscious, they are very self-confident, and they want deep engagement. So if you want to empower them, you must understand all these. I don't know where, I don't belong to any of them anyway. The issue of youth empowerment is therefore a complex one. It is not only about age categorization, but more so about the different generations which span across age groups. Before I speak to these three areas of focus specified for this lecture, I want to make three observations from my own personal corporate experience. What would appear to me to be the preconditions for the success of any youth policy? First, the environment. Second, the infrastructure. And third, the support systems. The environment that simply kills creativity and innovation. If you're unlucky to be living in a country such as Ghana, or under an oppressive system where personal liberties are often limited, such as we have in many African countries, the pressures from society alone will not allow anybody to dream radically, especially if you're a young person. Creativity requires deep thinking and the need sometimes even to be rebellious against entrenched orthodox beliefs and behaviors. It requires an environment that promotes competing views for creativity and innovation to thrive. Creativity and innovation also require minimum infrastructure. You may dream big and bold, but you may never have the support even to test your ideas. So the dreams remain on paper. Silicon Valley has been the engine which has driven America's leadership in creativity and innovation. Hopefully the Ghana ACity Hub and institutions such as yours will provide the opportunity, but it will require sustained investment support. Finally, and more importantly, creativity and innovation require that there will be adequate support in terms of processes and systems to facilitate the transition of a creative idea into a viable innovation. This requires that bureaucratic hurdles are removed so that resources can be secured to bring the innovation into the achievement of the original creative idea. I often consider this as the most critical part, whether it is about nurturing innovation and creativity, cultivating leadership skills for tomorrow's challenges, or building resilience and adaptability in an uncertain world. The support system will be critical to success. So let us start with nurturing innovation and creativity among the youth. And let me point out that creativity and innovation have a symbiotic relationship. Creativity is typically centered on the generation of a unique idea, thought, and knowledge, which unleashes potential. Innovation, on the other hand, is to turn that creative idea into a viable solution. So naturally, innovation cannot happen without creativity. And only with creative idea can one truly innovate and implement solutions that work. Africa contributes less than 2% to global innovation. So it is no wonder that the continent has experienced low growth rates and high poverty rates for many years. It is therefore imperative that we nurture creativity and innovation if we must become a big player to secure greater economic independence. We should first and foremost remove the obstacles to nurturing creativity and innovation, including but not limited to poor institutions and limited access to relevant quality education, lack of basic infrastructure, poor policy coordination, and above all, poor governance that has driven many African countries into high levels of debt and pervasive poverty. Second, there is need to encourage new idea generation from our educational institutions and from the private sector. And third, there is need to inject technology into our governance architecture to fight corruption and build sustainable high-growth economies. There is a 5-step creative process that can be followed for a systematic idea generation recommended by social psychologist Graham Wallace in his book, The Art of Thought, which is largely agreed upon by creatives of today. The step one is the preparation stage, which is the brainstorming stage. By letting your mind wander and finding inspiration, you can plant the seeds for your great idea. Your inspiration can be as specific as looking at a work of art from other artists or writers who you admire, or as abstract as simply taking in the world around you. This is where you gather the material to put together your ideas. The second step is the incubation period. While it may seem counterproductive at first, the second stage of the creative process is walking away from all the brainstorming that you have just done, while you take a break from your ideas and do something else. Your subconscious continues to mold all of the prepared information into your new idea. The third stage is the illumination stage. This is the stage that everyone likes, the eureka moment. The moment where your idea moves from your subconscious to the forefront of your mind. Contrary to many stories you hear, this doesn't have to be anything dramatic. Your idea may come to you while you are eating breakfast, doing laundry, or even studying for your examination. Suddenly, you know what the next verse of your song should be, how your book should end, or what the solution is to your problem. The fourth stage is the evaluation. After the initial idea has been generated, this stage involves thinking. The stage of the process is where you bring your idea into fruition. This is where you actually write your story, paint your picture, or create the creative brains. Individuals or companies run into difficulty, less from a scarcity of new ideas than from the struggle to determine which idea to support and invest in. Innovation is inherently risky, and getting the most from a portfolio of creative ideas is more about managing risk than eliminating it without missing an opportunity. The third step is to discover the kind of idea that will excite the intended market or solve the defined problem. The insight discovery is the livelihood of innovation. It will determine the success or failure of any investment. The fourth step is to evolve the discovery into a business model. All innovations have a purpose. Otherwise, they are not innovations. And it is at this stage that every effort must be made to shape the purpose into either a clear business model of giving or give meaning to the purpose. The fifth step is to accelerate the process, the resources required, and also access other needs, including people, skills, market size determination, and evaluation of the viability of the business. This is a critical stage, and the due diligence must be very thorough. The sixth step is now to determine the scalability of the idea. There's no point making an idea which only benefits your household. Will it be a mass market product or a niche market product? Expertly considering the appropriate magnitude and potential of a given idea, it's important to ensure that the right resources are acquired and the risks involved well understood, assessed, and prepared for. The seventh step is to seek collaboration in the ecosystem, including securing equity partners. Securing innovators, successful innovators achieve significant multiples for every CD investor by accessing the skills, talents, and capabilities of other people. And the final and eighth step is to mobilize resources to launch the project. And the resources will include people, providers of capital, an assessment of market potential, and determine your channel and your distribution strategy. A far-reaching vision can be a compelling motivation to unprecedented level to stimulate support from would-be partners. From the process above, it is clear that managing creativity and innovation to empower the youth involves complex processes. Nevertheless, it is the only way to mainstream the youth and engage them to become useful citizens. So how can we nurture creativity and innovation among the youth, given the many challenges that face them? First, policy must mainstream the youth, especially building capacity for the youth to make them relevant in the fourth industrial revolution. Consequently, education and skills development must have a focused bias on science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, the foundations for the new technology-driven world economy. You will recall that all except Generation X, my age and before, are technology savvy. So there's already an appetite for mainstreaming the STEM subjects in our educational policies. Second, there must be definite effort to foster innovation and creativity among the youth. And I'll give you a practical example. In 2015, Cosmos Energy Ghana, when I was a board member, launched the Cosmos Innovation Center. The main aim was to assist the youth to use creativity and innovation to find solutions to solve existing and emerging socio-economic challenges in Ghana, with the initial focus on agriculture. And agriculture because of its centrality to Ghana's development, but also to establish a new approach to corporate social responsibility investments by changing two development paradigms. A shift to market-driven solutions from aid dependency, and B, a reshape of the mindset and perception of the youth ecosystem to ensure that the best support from agro-business specialists and marketing experts was given the youth. Cosmos also provided seed capital and technical assistance to the youth. The program was launched on August 5, 2015, and many young persons from all over the country entered the competition. A governing council was established to guide the selection of potential candidates. Each team that qualified was given $100,000 seed money. Each team, made up of up to 4 persons, was required to establish and register a company. The KEG, together with its other partners, set up a team of experts to monitor the implementation of each company's operations. The team of experts reported to the main KGA board every quarter. The participation included many young people with compelling and credible ideas spanning the full agriculture supply chain to processing, distribution, and marketing of packaged products. The program was a huge success, and some of the youth involved now have businesses worth over $5 million each. One company called the Trotro Tractor, which started as a small company hiring tractors and renting them to farmers who could not afford their own tractors, has now become an Africa-wide multinational. It can be done. It just requires commitment on both sides, the corporate body supporting the idea and the team of the young people. Having proven themselves in this particular case, what leadership skills should be provided to these young entrepreneurs and many such young people to face the challenges of tomorrow and to sustain their success? From my corporate experience, there are 7 basic skills that we should provide our future leaders for them to be able to face future challenges using creativity and innovation. The first is awareness of leadership. The second is constant innovation and adaptation. The third is collective intelligence. The fourth is leading the change. The fifth is emotional intelligence and soft skills. The sixth, connectivity. And the seventh, empathy. But I must add for Ghana and Africa that we should add to the skills of our future leaders ethical leadership. Leadership with conscience. Leadership with conscience and integrity. Briefly, let me explain each one of the 8 and why they will be very critical for the youth to be successful future leaders. Awareness of leadership. In this fast-changing world, without the ability to anticipate the next change, its dynamics, and the awareness of its implications, it will be impossible to lead effectively and successfully. Organizations and institutions such as your university should develop leaders who have the capacity to consciously search for what and when the next change is likely to occur and think through its implications so you can prepare to respond to them appropriately. In the corporate world, it means searching for answers to what we term the what-if questions. What if this happens? If this change comes? Last year, when Ghana's economy collapsed, suddenly many leaders and individuals were caught with their pants down. Many organizations and individuals were impoverished with no buffers to help them remain sound financially. Yet all the signs were pointing to the fact that the government's overborrowing was going to collapse the economy, but no one acted until the inevitable happened. Leaders should be able to anticipate and become aware of potential risks so they can adapt quickly and respond. Innovation is the solution for weathering uncertainty and ensuring sustainability. Now let's have constant innovation and adaptation. Once you know the challenges, the leader must act immediately to respond. The response will require changes in many areas of the organization. There will be need for financial management, supply chain management, people management, but most critically, the mindset of the leader and the entire organization to risk management. This will be the time when everybody must think of different ways of doing things. Leaders must reward creativity, especially in times like this, times of great disruptions. Collective intelligence. Today, most organizations are hierarchical, and they have been so for many years. And decisions are often made top-down. The future leaders, I promise you, you cannot continue to do this. And already many businesses are flattening their organization structures so decisions and the execution can be made faster. It also helps collective buy-in and makes the organization more nimble and agile. Often our leaders ignore the concerns of the youth in their policy framework formulation, and youth participation is frowned upon. The only way to pull the entire organization behind an idea is when participation and involvement is consciously promoted throughout the organization. This does not mean that the leader should abandon his or her role as the one who is the driving seat. Rather, consulting extensively enhances the leader's ability to deliver success. Now, leading the change. While the whole organization must be involved in the creative thinking process. For the innovation to succeed, the functions of planning, managing the process, ensuring focused execution must be led by the leader. But most of today's leaders tend to be inward-looking, self-centered, and inflexible in accommodating ideas which do not originate from them. I learned in my career many years ago that to succeed as a leader requires that you sometimes even have to encourage rebels in your organization. People who are ready to stand up and say no to your face. It helps you to weigh other options that may be superior to yours. Our future leaders must therefore demonstrate flexibility in their thinking, and more importantly, they must have the self-confident integrity to argue and persuade others if the leader thinks he or she has a more superior solution to a problem before making a final choice. Emotional intelligence and soft skills. When I was in secondary school, and that was 1957 to I belonged to the debating society. At that time, I did not appreciate why I was participating in inter-school debating competitions. But that art of persuasion stayed with me. And as I progressed in my career, I realized how important the art of persuasion was in management. It builds unity of purpose and facilitates quality execution. A leader should have the skills to persuade, influence, and convince his followers to follow him or her, but provided that the leader's choice is credible, the purpose is clear to everybody. The military will tell you that it is the only way to win a war. So future leaders must therefore be trained and skilled in the pursuit of inclusiveness if they have to succeed. Connectivity. I don't need to emphasize the centrality of connectivity to leadership, given your focus as a university. We live in an age of communication driven by technology. To qualify as a fit for future leader, it will be imperative that you understand technology and you become a digital native. Luckily, all the generations after generations X are technology savvy. Even those of us who belong to pre-Generation X have adapted well to the technological advancement and have played a crucial role, in some cases, in driving the tech revolution. The ability to understand, use, and manage information will be crucial to you as future leaders, to the survival and growth of your as an individual and your organization. And let me add that today, boards of companies insist that the mix of members should include a technology specialist to help members perform their duties effectively. Companies and individuals ignore this to their own peril. Now, empathy. The leaders of tomorrow must be able to build trust and show concern for other people's needs. One major risk of technology is its ability to undermine interpersonal relationships. When by just tapping a button, you can communicate with hundreds of thousands of employees, the ability to assess their emotional concerns becomes almost impossible. Where there is no empathy, there can be no trust. And without trust, leaders will always fail. These are very demanding skills and competences that can make organizations and individuals succeed or fail, and we must be aware of it. Ethical leadership. The further skill that I will add for the success of our future leaders specifically for Ghana and Sub-Saharan Africa, is ethical leadership. Sometimes it's referred to as leadership with conscience, integrity, and accountability. I've been in corporate life for over 50 years, and I've observed businesses, state institutions, and countries destroyed by leaders with no respect for ethical behavior. You don't need to go far to see how this works in real-life situations. Our current Ghana situation is a direct consequence of the unethical leadership provided by our leaders. Their blatant contempt for ethical leadership has been the major cause of Ghana's predicament. You can say the same of the leaders of the banks that failed in Ghana, as well as the likes of the executives of Enron, Lehman Brothers, and JP Morgan Stanley, as well as the likes of the such companies which were responsible for the global financial crisis of 2000 and 2008. Ethical leadership is crucial to survival and the viability of any institution and any individual. To help young people obtain these skills and competencies to survive and grow in the face of tomorrow's challenges, I offer the following recommendations. First, encourage students and young people to participate in leadership activities. Schools and universities must make conscious effort to organize special training for their students in leadership development. And even more importantly, students should be given the opportunity to contribute to policy development. Second, provide mentorship and role models for the youth. Mentorship is key to the development of the youth, because with all the challenges facing the youth, it is very easy for them to be attracted to antisocial behaviors that can destroy their future well-being. Drugs, cybercrime, prostitution, and many other vices. And mentorship must begin with parents, who should serve as the first-line role models, teachers, lecturers, and very critically, politicians. Many of our youth are thrown into the deep end of life in a country like Ghana, which which is adrift with no mentorship support. Third, provide the youth with leadership programs. Governments have always left this to schools and tertiary institutions, which are often challenged themselves. But there are many courses for the youth, and I will encourage this university college to include in its curriculum opportunities for leadership development programs. Fourth, promote teamwork and collaboration. It helps students and the youth to learn to build tolerance and open-mindedness to other people's ideas. And it also builds in them the art of building consensus and avoid autocratic tendencies. Fifth, provide the youth with opportunities for real-world experiences. Encourage students to do attachments and internships to help them understand how the real world works. Sixth, promote the culture of responsibility and accountability. This is where we have failed as a country and continue to fail our youth in Ghana. Again, let me take our political class. The current young politicians are only being exposed to impunity and selfishness, ignoring the needs of the citizens and demonstrating arrogance even when their behaviors are reprehensible. There's no accountability to our citizens. And even our parliament has failed to hold government accountable for their actions in the face of many multifaceted challenges. If we have to cultivate in the youth the culture of responsibility and accountability, then we, the leaders of today, must live those values and practice ethical leadership, building resilience and adaptability in an uncertain world. We live in a world of constant changes, and not just constant change, but changes that are disruptive, destructive, and in one hand, reverse the capacity rules That had anticipated the devastation of COVID-19. Some were better able of the issues and the implications. You will need, and there are hard choices. Ensure that you protect your finances and stop spending on things that take away money from you but do not deliver value. Whether you are a small business or a student, this is crucial. Second, remain relevant and make prudent choices. Second, remain relevant and make prudent choices. The last thing you must do and do well is to execute your choice with passion. Looking back to your glorious past will not help you. And we do this always in Ghana. The Black Stars, oh, they were great. It will help us. Brave the new world. Understand what it takes to be an active participant and succeed in it. You will not fail. You will soon find that, after all, the uncertain world we face with all the disruptions can still provide opportunities for you to prosper. When times get tough, the tough get creative and innovative to grow and prosper. Mr. Chairman, I've said a lot, and I apologize for taking so much of your time. Many years ago, I received a letter from the teacher of my 11-year-old granddaughter. The letter read, "Dear Mr. Yamson, you and your granddaughter have one thing in common. You talk and talk and talk, and you never know when to stop. So at this stage, Mr. Chairman, I must take the advice of the teacher and stop talking."
Thank you, Dr. Yamson, for that insightful lecture that has shone great light towards the path that we are taking towards becoming future-ready leaders and ethical leaders in Africa and beyond. Now I'd like to call on stage, back on stage, Dr. Lucy.
Thank you so much. And truly, that was an insightful lecture. So as Dr. Yamson was talking about what it takes to empower future-ready leaders, he was like, make sure that you teach future-ready leaders about leadership. And we teach leadership here. I just have to say that we teach a little. I was taking it. I was making a mental note and trying to take, okay, we do this. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, to work on. And at this opportunity, what we want to do, with it being our 5th anniversary, what our core values stand for. So at ACity, we value excellence, innovation, integrity, leadership, and responsibility. And as part of our 5th anniversary, over this week, we've been giving awards to people who embody these core values. I'm glad to say that we have Professor Elsie Kaufman here, who we gave our Responsibility Award. Rightfully on point, we want to give our award for leadership. And this goes to no other than Dr. Ishmael Yamson. And I'd like to... Yamson. Can you open it? I'll just read what it says on here. In celebration of ACity's 5th anniversary, we salute you in collaboration between the public and private sectors, civil administration. Your achievements stand as an incredible inspiration, as few individuals have ever wielded such singularship. And we have a few goodies to go with that, so that when you go about your day, I know you like to write in diaries. When you're writing in your diary, drinking from some water, you always remember that at ACity at 5, you were our leadership honoree and awardee. Thank you so much, Dr. Ishmael Yamson. And thank you, Honorable, for helping us deliver this award. Yes. Thank you so much.
End of our program. Therefore, I'd like to call on stage for the closing remarks our SRC President, Sean Wilson. Let's give him.
Good evening, everyone. So I'd like to say firstly, it's a really big honor sharing the podium with someone who has done so much for not just Ghana, but then the whole Africa as well. So it's really a big honor. I've learned so much tonight. At the beginning of Dr. Yamson's delivery to us, one of the things he mentioned was how there are so many young Africans that are leaving the country and say Ghana should just close the doors and then switch off all the lights before they leave. So, yes. But I'm of the view that anyone that wants to make it in Ghana really can. And if you've picked a lot up from everything that was said tonight, I believe Academic City students, since we've had the privilege of listening to Dr. Yamson, we can make it in Ghana. So in the span of 5 years, Academic City has produced some of what the world is one day going to call some of the greatest minds that's come out of the continent of Africa. And the next few, just as Reverend Lockhart said in the case of Infanspim, in a few years, people in this country will be amazed by the number of people that owe allegiance to this school. Academic City is on the road to create a legacy for Africa, the new African, the new African, one whose identity doesn't revolve solely around slavery, the African that takes advantage of the opportunities around him and makes good use of the resources the continent has blessed them with. The imagery of other great leaders such as Dr. Kwame Nkrumah and Nelson Mandela. On this occasion of our 5th anniversary, I would like to congratulate the Variani family who is not present. Their gifts to us will not be forgotten. I would also like to congratulate the management and the governing bodies of this institution. Your diligence and servitude is evidenced by the quality of students that are produced by this institution. I would also like to thank all our partners, and most importantly, thank and congratulate our students. To you, I said in Latin, non obis solum natissimus, which means, not for ourselves alone are we born. I would like to remind you that we strive to build on what was left for us and build ahead for who are after us. Finally, I would like to say thank you to everyone that's made it a part to be part of this celebration today. We are honored to have you all. Have a good evening.
As a continuation of the evening, I would humbly invite our guests to join our ushers as they usher us to our cocktail event at the Lawns. Thank you so much for the wonderful presence, and let's continue to celebrate Academic City. Thank you.